So today's video is going to be a little bit different. For you guys that regularly watch my videos, you'll probably have noticed I haven't uploaded a lot in quite a while, and my uploads haven't exactly been consistent or to a particular schedule. Yeah, I guess it's time for me to admit that I've actually had quite a difficult couple of months. We're now well into 2023, and the new year saw two major changes take place in my somewhat already hectic and fast-paced life here in London. The first being that my partner and I finally managed to get onto the property ladder in London, and we now own our own home. Well, a portion of it, the bank owns most of it, but we managed to get onto the property ladder nevertheless here in East London. And the second, I was placed on secondment at the start of the year to one of the most prestigious law firms in the country. No, I'm not a lawyer by day, but I am a Big Four management consultant, so I've been working directly in the exec office. Now, don't get me wrong, it's been a fantastic learning experience and great for my CV, but the equation of brand new job plus longer working hours plus having to go into the office every day when I was previously working from home equals a pretty stressful and fast-paced life. Not to mention that the day job itself is proving pretty challenging for me at the moment. Now, just one of these major life changes is enough to destabilize one's daily routine, but the fact that I've had two of these major life changes happen at the exact same time has been somewhat difficult. It's felt like a lot to deal with, and as a result I found it extremely hard to keep on top of everything that I need to do, and more importantly find the time to do the things that I want to do and see the people that I want to see. So with that said, if there is anyone watching who is in a similar position to me that is finding life a bit difficult at the moment, then this video might be useful for you. I'm going to talk you through three big life changes that I've made very recently that are helping me to get back on top. Now, some of these might seem a bit obvious to you once I've mentioned them, and they might even feel like common sense. But I guess from my own personal experience, every now and again, we do need reminders of the basic things in life. And some positive reinforcement. We are, after all, human, and we owe it to ourselves to do that. So the first major change I've made to my life is just saying no to stuff. London is a pretty strange place in the sense that if you want to do something every night of the week after work, you'll find something to do. Especially when you work in quite a social working environment where everybody goes into the office every day, there's kind of always something on or something that you've been invited to Monday through Friday, pretty much every evening. And more recently, there have just been weeks and weeks where I've done something every night of the week, Monday through to Friday. And then consequently, when it gets to Friday, when everybody's winding down for the weekend, the last thing I want to do is actually go out. I'm just so knackered from the week. I don't want to see friends. I just want to stay in my flat and just watch TV or something. But before you've had a chance to turn it down, you remember that 2 weeks ago when people were asking, you've already said yes in the WhatsApp group, so you feel the pressure to turn up and show your face anyway. So what have I done to rectify this? Well, I've started to try and block out protected time in my diary. So I've literally just made a promise to myself that there'll be some days where I'm just simply not available. And that's okay. The fear of FOMO can sometimes be rife in London with everything that's going on all of the time. But you just have to remember, and I just keep telling myself this as well, that there's always going to be another time. And focusing on your own goals and your own ambitions is really what's going to make the difference over the long term, not whether you're going to attend the third bottomless brunch of the month this Saturday. So protected time, I guess, is my tip. Make sure it's in your diary. If you've got a work calendar and a personal calendar, consider fusing them. I just have one. I just find it much easier to block out time around my work. So I've just got one calendar for everything. But yeah, maybe it's 1 or 2 evenings a week. It doesn't really have to be any more than that, but make sure that you protect that time and use it to get back on top of stuff, whether it's your goals or your wider ambitions in life or hobbies or interests or just simply chores that you need to catch up on. Do what's important to you and makes you happy. It makes you feel like you're in control of your life. One of mine is making YouTube videos on here, of course. So the second major change I've made in my life is making sure that everything that I do care about is positively reinforced. And I'll explain what I mean by this because I don't see many people talking about this concept on YouTube, and I think it's really underrated. It's just such an underrated tool, and I think many of us do suffer from getting distracted too easily with all the distractions that are out there in 2023. I mean, from TikTok to ChatGPT or whatever, our modern environment in this world is just full of distractions. I mean, even when penning the script for this YouTube video, I literally just found myself entering a bit of a TikTok hole, and I emerged from it like 25 minutes later, just thinking, where the hell did that time go? I was literally just sat there waiting for the next dopamine rush to kick in when the algorithm feeds me another Bob Mortimer sketch from Would I Lie to You. I could honestly lose hours watching stuff like that, which is great, but I just don't have hours to lose. And the chances are neither do you. So what have I done to help try and control this? Well, when I'm feeling a little bit bored and I want some entertainment, rather than gravitating towards traditional social media that I think would typically be considered negative for the brain. And by social media, I mean like Instagram Reels, TikTok, just mind-numbing, silly little videos. Instead, I've started listening to podcasts and more long-form content. But not just any podcasts, ones that actually positively reinforce the topics that I care about and the things in life that are important to me. So if we take health and fitness, for example, something that's always been really important to me, every day I allow myself that time to listen to one podcast, and it's usually when I'm in the gym. And those podcasts can either be from Andrew Huberman, Ali Abdaal, Zoe, Tim Spector, Stephen Bartlett, the list just goes on. But for me, the main benefit that I've found of listening to these podcasts is those voices just put my mind in the right place. And they remind me why I'm going to the gym at 7:30 in the evening when I spent nearly 12 hours during the day stuck in an office, or why I'm choosing to fast until 12 PM to eat my first meal. And I just find that for me personally, it resets and refocuses my brain onto the things that I actually care about when I've been distracted by like stuff online or other things that have been happening in my life. Now, as well as health and fitness, I've obviously got to talk about music here, given that my channel is predominantly a music channel. But on the music front, to be really frank and honest with you guys, I haven't really been making that much music recently. And I feel pretty bad about it, to be honest, because it's probably the thing that I enjoy doing the most. And when you have a full-time corporate job, sometimes you do need to be reminded of the things that do truly bring you joy. And let's be really honest here, right? When you're working a 12-hour day between commuting there and back, cooking your meals, paying your bills, doing your chores, cleaning up the house, there just isn't really much time left at the end of the day to do the things that you actually want to do. But regularly immersing myself into the Take Notes podcast does help to immerse myself in the world of DIY home studio production. And it's really helped me to focus again on making music and to remind myself that I do need to block out time to make this stuff happen. And so it needs to be protected. So for anybody struggling to find the time and the energy to do the things that you want to do, or if you feel like your brain is just too scatty and too full of information to really focus and make time for the things that you want to do, try some positive reinforcement techniques. So podcasts, whatever it might be, some sort of medium that just puts your brain into the right mindset and refocuses it on the right things, and see if it helps. And for those of you that have already tried some of these things, let me know in the comments how it's working for you. Now, I already touched on this in the last point, but the third major change I'm making to my life is taking health and fitness way more seriously. And by more seriously, I mean introducing proper targets and goal setting for things like key lifts and running times. And the thing that underpins that is a weekly routine that I will actually stick to. And probably most important of all, I've got myself a training partner. Working in corporate London can just feel like a very strange and confusing place to me sometimes. For those of you that are watching that have worked in a corporate structure in a city around the world for a couple of years, might resonate with this point. In my current job, I get to work and build connections with some of the most brightest and intelligent people in the country, as well as working with some very senior executives of companies in the FTSE 100 and the FTSE 250. Now, these are just people with next level resilience and drive. They're literally just built for success. But although I really respect their ambitions and where they've gotten to in life, at the same time, I see the darker side of ambition and the sacrifices that they often make or have made to get where they are today. Health being the obvious one that I see the most. And I've thought about this quite deeply over the past few years, and I definitely don't want to be that person. And in this kind of work, it's too easy to let that side of your life just slip away. And so I've decided to kind of do the opposite. I'm taking it more seriously than ever this year. And like all habits, they compound over time. And so I tell myself, like, if I take it seriously now and keep it going, imagine how healthy and fit I'll be in 5 or 10 years' time compared to the average person of that age. So as well as having a new weekly routine that is now non-negotiable for me, so if I worked late, I'm still in the gym at 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever it might be, I'll always be there whenever work finishes. But I've also started training with a friend who takes this stuff even more seriously than I do. Or rather, I've taken James Clear's advice in the book Atomic Habits and I've gotten myself an accountability partner. Great book, by the way. Highly recommend that anybody who's even vaguely interested in some of the points that I've talked about in this video goes and reads it, ideally with a highlighter in hand. But yeah, back to my accountability partner. Shout out to Fede. I will link his YouTube channel somewhere in the description or up top somewhere if you feel like checking his content out. He's only just started, so show your support. But yeah, every Saturday morning, first thing in the morning, we train together, rain or shine, hangover or no hangover. And yes, to tell you the truth, I've been put through some horrendous training sessions after going out the night before. But the endorphin rush that I get when I finish a really difficult gym session, you just can't beat it. It just makes it so worth it. And since doing this every Saturday morning, I honestly feel so much better for it, and it starts my weekend off in the right way. And I'm also finding that my mental health is benefiting so much from this as well. More on that in a later video, but massive talking point, something that I want to share with you guys in a bit more detail in the future. So there you go. Saying no, positive reinforcement, and getting fit. They are the three main things that I'm doing to sort my life out, basically. Hopefully you found some of the tips that I've shared in this video actually useful. They've definitely been working for me so far when I've been finding life a little bit too much. And for regular viewers of the channel, of course, I will be back next week with some music-focused content. But if not for my own sake, I think this video just needed to be made. And who knows, maybe it's even helped somebody. If it's helped one person, that will be a massive win. So with that said, if you did enjoy the video or found it somewhat useful, do hit that like button. I've been told it does help the channel out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will put some links up here for anybody that feels like watching a little bit more of my content. And I will see you very soon.